And from time to time, we do these experiments where we can deploy what we built onto public blockchains to ensure that we're doing it in a way that, should the time come where we eventually want to migrate, we can do so in a pretty smooth manner.
Alrighty, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another CYPRX video banger. Ladies and gentlemen, buckle up your seatbelts because in today's video breakdown, I'm going to show you guys how some of the world's largest institutions and organizations in the regulated space are dipping their hands into the decentralized finance ecosystem to inevitably earn yield on their digital assets.
First glance say, well, that just means it's not as attractive to institutions. That's not really the case. Institutions are smart money. They'll go to where the yield and the returns are, and institutions are deciding to go on chain and pursue that staking rate or more compelling yielding rates that are natively available in Ethereum and other ecosystems.
Earning yield on your digital assets will become the new wave. That is the level playing field that they have been talking about for the longest time, and it is unfolding right before our very eyes.
And I believe that we will all eventually, and probably very much sooner than a lot of people understand or think, we will be all at a level playing field, because that's the only way it's fair.
We're going to be diving into how Ripple and XLR are interconnected in this intertwined web with all of these regulated entities, and how this is a massive opportunity for retail investors like us to earn yield on our digital assets and never have to sell them for fiat. This is a massive once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to grasp these concepts and educate yourself on what is unfolding behind the scenes. And in today's video breakdown, we're going to piece this interconnected web for you guys in a way that the mainstream media will never do for you all. So if you enjoy these video breakdowns, do us a favor, smash that thumbs up button and subscribe. Stick around for the entirety of this video breakdown. We're actually going to chuck this video up into two separate parts. I will upload them back to back so that way you guys can see them one after the other. But again, make sure that you stick around. You're not going to want to miss a beat in today's video breakdown. We have fundamentals and video clips from, again, some of the world's largest financial institutions. So we are going to start here because this post sets the tone for today's video breakdown. You need to grasp these concepts of what is available to us at our fingertips via earning yield on our digital assets in the now. This is the stuff that they do not want you to know, that you never have to sell your XRP or your XLR or your XLM for fiat currency that is decaying and depreciating at a rapid pace year after year.
All of the fiat money in the world is depreciating, some a little bit and some faster. And if you count all the fiat money and you calculate the depreciation that they have, it's a gigantic value. And
as far as the currency devaluations, I've been complaining about that for a long time.
DeFi puts the power of the banks in the hands of the people. DeFi was always the level playing field Trump talked about in his last term. DeFi is like handing you the keys to your own bank. It runs on transparent, self-executing blockchain code, smart contracts instead of middlemen. That means lower fees, faster transactions, and no gatekeepers controlling your decisions. Anyone with an internet connection can lend, can borrow, can earn interest worldwide instantly. And here I posted a fundamental piece that was from CoinDesk where it says Donald Trump is now a DeFi enthusiast. Again, we've been talking about this for the longest time, and you can see here Donald Trump Jr. talked about how he sees DeFi as what our founding fathers intended for our country, as it brings back fairness to the financial system. You cannot make this stuff up. I'm telling you guys, you are not going to want to miss any part of today's two-part video breakdown. This is going to be so exponential, what it is that I'm about to share with you guys, okay? So moving on, I just have to give a shout out to the God Candle on X after joining the CYPRX Wealth 28 Club, our DeFi university, where we have over 200 detailed private video breakdowns explaining how we are exposing our capital to DeFi and earning passive income with the utilization of our digital assets. He said here, a big shout out and thank you to myself and Mr. Aquaman, along with Mr. Man XRP, for helping me get my head around and understanding how to do what I always wanted to be able to do, but didn't have the knowledge to do it. Last month, he said he earned over $2,000 in Australian dollars in the DeFi ecosystem. So he definitely learned how to utilize his digital assets in the DeFi ecosystem to earn him passive rewards. I said here, that is an insane accomplishment, so crazy to know that people still have no idea that DeFi exists. After today's video breakdown, you are going to 110% see through the interconnected webs that are going to involve and include organizations like Ripple and XLR, and deploying these digital assets in the DeFi ecosystem to earn passive rewards. And some of the world's largest institutions are telling you guys that that is to be the case. You can see here, he mentioned that he joined the Wealth 28 Club and he absorbed the content. So kudos to you for putting in the elbow grease and putting in the work to understand how your digital assets can work for you. $2,000 a month, pat yourself on the back. That is an amazing accomplishment. That is well over a minimum wage salary just through the utilization of your digital assets. Now, let's start to dive in. Fishbowl predictions for 2025. Listen to this individual representative, Jim Hiltner. Hopefully I'm pronouncing his name correctly, from Superstate. We'll get into them in just 1 second. Listen to what he says about his prediction for asset managers in 2025.
I'm going to say you're going to see large asset managers actually participating in DeFi. You're going to see large asset managers actually participating in DeFi.
We'll pause it there. He said he predicts that we are going to see large asset managers participating in DeFi. Okay, why should we even listen to Superstate? Let's just go check out who these individuals are and dive into the details. This is, again, going to blow your mind and show you some of the interconnected webs that the mainstream is never going to connect for you guys, only here at CYPRX. Superstate Industry Council. At Superstate, we are on a mission to modernize the infrastructure of traditional finance, which is happening right now at a rapid pace. They are committed to enhancing financial infrastructure for investors through tokenized investment products that harness the speed, programmability, and compliance advantages of blockchain. This inaugural member cohort of top financial institutions includes asset managers, venture capitalists, traders, financial technology providers, and other firms focused on bridging the gap between traditional and digital ecosystems. We are proud to welcome 20 plus leading institutions to the SIC's inaugural member cohort. So they literally have over 20 plus financial institutions leading this industry council. And you just heard a representative predict that in 2025, right, asset managers are going to adopt and integrate into the DeFi ecosystem. Now, check this out. You can see here, XLR is one of the names mentioned sitting on this industry council. Do you guys remember? You cannot make this stuff up. The CTO of XLR sitting on stage with David Schwartz. And what did he say? Take a second and listen.
Most excited about happening on XRPL is finally opening up DeFi opportunities for for XRP. Right? Again, it's the biggest asset with one of the biggest communities that doesn't have. Is finally opening up DeFi opportunities for for XRP. Right? Again, it's the biggest asset with one of the biggest communities that doesn't have DeFi. Right? And being able to use this asset productively in DeFi, I think it's going to be a big thing.
Being able to use your XRP in DeFi is going to be a big thing. He mentioned it's one of the biggest assets that has never had a DeFi ecosystem. And what he is excited for, again, the CTO of XLR sitting on stage with David Schwartz mentions that he is excited for DeFi. Superstate industry council members sitting on this list, XLR, you can see it right there. And the Superstate representative from this prediction for 2025 mentioned that he sees asset managers flowing into DeFi. Again, these are the interconnected webs that the mainstream is never going to show you guys. They sit on stage and they tell you this stuff in advance. The CTO of XLR mentioned getting your XRP to work for you, right? And having this opportunity. You cannot make this stuff up. Now, let's go back 2 weeks ago to a video that eToro posted via a panel discussion and an interview that they had with Brad Garlinghouse. And what did Brad Garlinghouse say about DEXs and decentralized finance. Take a second and listen.
I think there's no doubt Ripple has always viewed ourselves to some degree, and consistent with what Yoni described, as kind of a bridge between traditional finance and decentralized finance. And, said another way, it's like, okay, here's the legacy infrastructure with a new infrastructure. There needs, in our judgment, to be bridges between those. Some in crypto, I think early on, were really much, hey, there's going to be a separate, distinct, and it's going to be independent, and there's going to be, the one's going to win over time. And it's like, you're going to have a blended infrastructure for, I think, a very long time. And Ripple's really tried to enable that, as Yoni described, and working with financial institutions, enabling them to use these technologies. But really, if you go back in time, the XRPL, the XRP ledger was all about tokenizing and enabling the transfer of any type of assets. It was the first decentralized exchange DEX that was available, and we find ourselves, I think, and part of the excitement about what's going on in XRP right now is, without the headwinds of the SEC, some of those tools and capabilities that have always been there are now unlocked in a way that we don't have the headwinds of the SEC fighting with us about it. And I think particularly around some of the tokenization of other assets and leverage of a DEX, it really plays into where the world is today and where the world's heading. And leverage of a DEX, it really plays into where the world is today and where the world's heading.
And I believe that we will all eventually, and probably very much sooner than a lot of people understand or think, we will be all at a level playing field.
The utilization of a DEX and tools on the XRPL that have always been there but haven't been able to be utilized because of the headwinds surrounding the SEC are about to be unlocked for the first time, and he believes decentralized finance is the way that the world is heading. That is directly coming from Brad Garlinghouse, the CEO of Ripple. So if you hold the digital asset XRP, right, you can't, people, you cannot make this stuff up. I'm not just making this stuff up off the top of my head. I'm physically showing you guys the individuals that sit at the top of the totem pole via these digital assets that you hold, telling you guys that this is to be the case and that this is what they're excited for. So you just heard Brad Garlinghouse talk about being able to utilize DEXs, and that's the way that the world is headed. And you just heard the CTO of AXELAR talk about how he's excited, how XRP holders are going to be able to utilize their XRP in DeFi, sitting directly on stage with David Schwartz himself. Now, again, Superstate, the individual representative, mentioning how he sees asset managers coming into DeFi, sitting on the industry council as XLR. Well, it goes deeper than that. Okay, so let's go over, check this out. This is, again, going to blow your mind and show you more interconnected webs that the mainstream will never show you guys. This is Samantha Bobot. She is the Chief Growth Officer and partner of Rockaway X. Take a second and listen to what she says. I'm going to play 2 video clips back to back about her mentioning DeFi, and then we'll get into who Rockaway X is.
From your mandate, but I think that's there. If I think of what business is, so what's happening now that I think, okay, this price uptick, other changes in the environment are going to make for things that will succeed 5 years from now, because that's our horizon. I think a lot in DeFi. And so for things that will succeed 5 years from now, because that's our horizon, I think a lot in DeFi. And so moments in the cycle, like with DeFi, someone will start to raise for kind of the next frontier. So they'll say, institutional money's coming on chain. I want to do like an exotic options. But yeah, I think maybe I can tell you, because there's one thing we're excited about. So to give an example of like, well, what's new? I'm a guy, I want to do something cool on chain. I don't just want to bet and speculate on meme coins. What's actually this financial activities I can do?
Well, how is crypto actually melting into the real world?
You're going to have a blended infrastructure for, I think, a very long time. And Ripple's really tried to enable that, as Yoni described, and working with financial institutions, enabling them to use these technologies.
I don't just want to bet and speculate on meme coins. What's actually this financial activities I can do?
Well, how is crypto actually melting into the real world?
Exactly. So we just set up, there's a project, it's an investment platform in DeFi.
She just talked about not investing in meme coins and actually investing in something that provides real world value and utility. And she also mentioned in the previous comment that DeFi will be around in 5 years from now. Now, let me freaking tie this all in. This is going to blow your mind. So who is Rockaway X? Why would you even listen to what this individual representative here just said? Okay. Again, showing you guys interconnected webs that the mainstream is never going to bring to your attention. Rockaway X, we believe in the power of decentralization. Rockaway X is a venture capital firm backing leading Web3 funds and founders based in Dubai, London, and Prague. Based in Dubai, that is going to play an important freaking role once we get into the XRPL legal clarity that it has obtained over the past year. Again, you're going to want to stick around for part 2 because we're going to get into part 2 in just 1 second. Dubai, London, and Prague, we focus on long-term value creation by providing engineering, liquidity, and community support. Looking a little bit further, they see over $2 billion in assets across our asset management and engineering division. Our staking division has been ranked #1 validator on the Ethereum by Rated Network. Okay, so they are, in my personal opinion, someone that you should be listening to in this space when they say things like DeFi will be around 5 years from now. And would you take a look at this? Welcoming our new identity, Rockaway X, right down here. What does it say? We've also launched a market neutral, fully regulated credit fund providing liquidity to market makers, exchanges, and DeFi protocols, helping projects bootstrap working capital or total value locked. Additionally, we established an engineering division with teams behind institutional grade staking operations, including infrastructure for XLR. Do you see that right there? I'm getting overly excited piecing this stuff together for you guys. Do you see the individual representative sitting on stage? Okay, let me just backtrack because now we're going to get into part 2. Again, smash that thumbs up button and subscribe if you've made it this far. You guys see what I'm piecing together for you all. Before we roll into part 2, let's just do a recap. We got an individual from Superstate sitting on stage saying asset managers are coming into the DeFi space. Superstate, well, who sits on their industry council? AXELAR sits on their industry council. XLR CTO just sat on stage a couple of months ago with David Schwartz, Ripple, right? Saying what? He's excited for DeFi and XRP holders being able to participate in the DeFi ecosystem to get their assets working for them because they've never had access to this before, ever. Brad Garlinghouse literally just stated on a panel discussion stating that tools, i.e. DEXs, that have been around on the XRPL for the longest time are now finally being unlocked as the SEC headwinds are now behind us, and how he believes this is going to become an integral part of the financial future moving forward. You cannot make this stuff up. Then we have an individual representative from Rockaway X stating that DeFi will be around in 5 years from now, and that they are launching products in the DeFi ecosystem. And directly on the Rockaway X website, it says that they established an engineering division with teams behind institutional grade staking operations, including infrastructure for XLR. Like, you cannot make this stuff up. I'm going to go into so much more detail in part 2. Do me a favor, smash that thumbs up button and subscribe to the platform. Stick around for part 2 as we dive in to more of how DeFi is going to play a massive integral role in shaping this digital asset landscape moving forward. And you are not going to want to be uneducated on how to get your digital assets working for you. With that being said, I'll see you guys in part 2 of today's video breakdown.